The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network. We have breaking news. Manscaped now sells beard products. That's right. They are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger Pro Kit allows you to shape your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY for 20% off and free shipping. It's time to tame your mane. No one likes a weird beard, so say goodbye to all your stubble and trouble with Manscaped Pro Beard Kit. It all starts with the Beard Hedger. This thing is a juggernaut of fixing faces. First off, this cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 hair cutting lengths, all with one guard, so no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. That's right, face grooming doesn't need to be hard. Get 20 different beard lengths in just one guard. Plus, it's waterproof, so you can shave in the shower to avoid all that hair in the sink. The titanium-coated T-blade is tough on hair but smooth on your face, leading to single-stroke efficiency that brings satisfaction one stroke at a time. So make sure you get 20% off and free shipping when you go to manscaped.com by using the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. Once again, that's 20% off and free shipping when you use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY at manscaped.com.
What is up, fight fans? We are back for another episode of the Fighter Spotlight. And tonight, I'm being joined by Skyler Maverick. If that last name sounds slightly familiar, you might be somewhat familiar with her sister, Mirannda Maverick, who is a UFC lightweight. Skyler's getting ready to forge her own path, getting ready to have her fourth amateur fight, getting ready. Was it a Peak Fighting Championships you're getting ready to fight for now?
That is correct, on March 11th.
All right, and that you're fighting for their 135-pound belt. Obviously, are you going to be fighting at the same weight your sister does actively compete at flyweight when you eventually do turn professional?
Yes, eventually I will just be fighting 125. I just need to get in a little better shape. And at amateur level, it doesn't really matter if I'm fighting 125 or 35.
No, absolutely. This is where you can make your mistakes. This is where this is when you can do your test cuts, make sure you do things properly. It's when you're allowed to kind of feel the waters there.
Yeah.
So obviously, you're getting ready for your big fight. As we were just talking about, you're in the deeps of fight camp. Your coaches are all over you. Your teammates are all over you. What are some of the things you're getting excited about as we're getting down to the last few weeks?
Oh my goodness, there's so many things I'm excited for. All this time I've been training in Missouri and fighting out of Missouri, and now I've learned so much since I came here to Colorado, and plus it's higher elevation. My cardio sucked when I got here, but now it's better, so I can't imagine how much better my cardio is going to be when I go to Texas. It's just going to be like taking a breath of nice, fresh air, I can imagine.
So how long you been up there now? You've been up there for at least over a month, right?
Yeah, almost 2 months now, which is crazy.
See, people who don't know, like, elevation is definitely different up there in Colorado, and especially when you train there for a long period of time, and then when you just break camp and go right to the fight, it really does kind of help your cardio for those fights.
Yeah, it does. So I'm really excited to see how it feels whenever I get to Texas, to see how much better my cardio is there. So.
Obviously you're saying that's one of the things that stinks, that you still need to work on. What are some of the things that you're hoping to be able to kind of work on as you continue your amateur career, leading into your eventual debut? What are kind of some of the things that you would like to see yourself get, outside of just the cardio? What are some of the things you say, hey, maybe maybe we can get couple weeks where we can work on this or that. Like, as they're saying, the best fighter in the world is the one who's consistently evolving and consistently finding their weaknesses and trying to improve it.
Yeah, I would definitely say just in general my striking, because I wrestled all 4 years in high school. My ground game is decent, for my experience level, especially at amateur level. I have good ground game, so I'm not so worried about that. But I never did striking until I started doing MMA and going to the gym, which was just about 10 and a half months ago. So I just really want to work on that, which
So I
since
guess
I've been
it's safe to say you would call yourself a little bit more of a grappler when we're talking about your general style there.
yes, for sure. So yeah, I
Yeah.
just really want to work on that, and I have been a lot since I got to Colorado. Like, it's been about 70% striking, 30% grappling and everything.
Now, obviously, working with your sister's fun. How is having her around and having some of those people around that she's able to work with? Kind of, how is that kind of an invaluable asset to you? Just to be able to have that access to that when you're kind of starting your career off.
It's been amazing for me. It's a huge advantage for me. Some people look at it as I'm a spoiled brat because basically
Well, of
she
course they're gonna
is
hate. Yeah. Oh, look at Skyler. She has her sister and all her great training partners. Why are you so mad?
right.
I can't
Well,
help who my family is.
yeah. She paved the path for me though, and so now I came up here, didn't even really have to go through 20 coaches to figure out which ones I wanted. I got the same coaches as Miranda. They're the best here in my opinion and her opinion. Other people have different ways of fighting, so somebody else might be for them, but me and Miranda
Oh, that's
have.
what I said. Like, listen, like every fighter has like their own styles. The same thing with coaches. Like, you have to find ones where your styles mix and match and everything works well. They bring out the best. Like, some fighters, they need a coach to freaking scream and holler and get in their face, and that's how they get the best out of them. Other fighters need that coach to sit down there and break it. Like, okay, this is what we did wrong today. We need to work. Everyone needs somebody different. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter which we're talking about, the athlete, the coach, the gym, etc. There's so many different variables when it comes to fighting. Just like in any other sports too. Like, just because organized team sports don't have the tendencies that combat sports doesn't mean they don't need their own coaches, trainers, etc. to get them to X level, Y level, B level. We all have our little intricacies when it comes to looking at the different variables that play into everything in sports. Is just, I say the inches in sports are crazy. It doesn't matter if we're talking about football, fighting. It's like, inches mean everything.
for sure. They do.
Now, obviously we're talking about your sister, and she's this great influence of things like that. What are some of the things that influenced your life to say, hey, like, I want to be a wrestler in high school. I wanted to be a grappler. I wanted to go and start pursue this potential path of being an MMA fighter or combat sports athlete. What are some of those things that put you on this path?
So it was kind of a crazy story for me. I was homeschooled through middle school, and then I went into high school, like the public school, and started wrestling in the assumption that I would do good enough that I could get a scholarship, go to college for wrestling. And all 4 years I wrestled with that in my mind. And then I started getting my goals, dreams, and plans together, and I just didn't see me being able to accomplish my goals if I college for wrestling. I wouldn't really have time for work, and I wasn't a huge fan of school, and I didn't want to be in school for 4 years or something, wrestling for 4 years. Didn't want to get injured there or anything. So sorry, my cat got in here.
Yeah, I know how it is. We have I've had shows. I'm just literally just in the middle of it. My dog would just be like, "Hey, what's up? Pay attention to me. What's up?" Just like lay
Yeah.
right on my lap. Just be like,
Yeah.
I
But
know how animals are. Pay attention to me. I want to be the center of attention right now.
I know. I had the door closed. I don't know how she got in here. But
Poor
yeah,
cats.
I started seeing that wasn't going to line up with my dreams and plans. So I was like, I've got to change something. And so over spring break of my senior year in high school, I said, you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to college for wrestling. I wasn't getting great scholarships. And so I was just like, screw it. I don't want to do that anymore. So I was like, I'm going to go try MMA. You know what? And the very next week, I told Miranda and Dad, and they're like, really? And they're like, yeah, sure, go try it. So the very next week, I was in there that Monday training. Of course, I was a nervous wreck because I went to the same gym that Miranda had went to, and I knew they were going to have all these expectations for me because my sister's, top level MMA, but I didn't know anything about MMA really, just wrestling, and so I was pretty nervous, but that's how it changed for me.
I listen, like we all have, I guess, doubts in ourselves in certain aspects of ourselves, and it's always good to have something that you have support in, in that family nature to when you have those pivots in life that people are supportive of it. So it's great first and foremost that they're absolutely behind you. Two, obviously, yeah, yes, you're lucky enough to have Miranda there and things of that nature to be able to kind of lean on some of those things that she'll be able to put you in contact with. So obviously, but obviously at the end of the work, at the end of the day, you have to put the work in. You're the one that's going out there. Obviously, 3-0 as an amateur is a pretty good start to kind of kick things off with. Obviously, we're within we're within 10 days now of the 135-pound title fight for Peak and things of that nature. But if you could write your perfect roadmap, like, how long do you think you want to be an amateur for, and how long do you say it would take you to, do you think you could beat Miranda's time getting into the UFC? What was she? She was the youngest, wasn't she?
No.
She was close. I know
Well,
she was
yes.
close. I know
I
she was
can't remember for
close.
sure with the UFC, but I know she was the youngest to get into Invicta.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah. Yep. So she definitely started at a younger age than me. Like she started at 16 or 17, I believe, and I didn't start here till I was
Yeah,
19.
but
Well,
see, here's the
yes,
thing.
wait,
Here's the thing. You were already wrestling. So,
that's
like, yeah,
true.
you weren't doing full blown MMA, but I mean, look, John Jones was doing Greco-Roman wrestling. Like that. I mean, you look at some of the best bases in combat sports come from that wrestling background.
Yep, it did
Maybe they weren't always the greatest. I mean, not everyone's Daniel Cormier level. You have Olympic level grapplers in there. I mean, Sarah McMahon, great. She was a silver medalist, never won a belt though. Like it doesn't mean like just because you're a top level Olympic level, and it doesn't mean that. That's the great base. I mean, Dan Henderson's another one. Wasn't a real great top, but he made his own game. Like you said, you already have that one base. You already know. All right, I gotta work on my hands like crazy these next few years if I wanna level up and get to that next level. Not to sit there and say completely ignore your grappling side of it, but like I said, you go look around at some of the the more recognizable fighters. It's that grappling base is where they come from.
Yeah, that is true. That's true.
Everyone's been getting into, the Russian guys over there with their sport sambo and things like that. And like grappling is kind of one of the greater bases when it comes to when we talk about combat sports, when we were talking about MMA especially. So it's one of the things, it's a great building block. I think anyone can, if they dedicate themselves and really obsess themselves and put themselves into it, they could really become top level with, at least, MMA worthy. I'm not sitting there saying like you're going to become a world class boxer in 5 years, but anyone can sit there and put themselves in that position if the dedication is there, if the heart is there, if the one is there. You feel like you could do that in 5 years. You could turn yourself around. We're having another talk about you, and we're talking about how great your hands are and how grappling's just this thing you used to do as well.
That's right. It's
I mean, that's
crazy.
kind of the idea what every fighter wants to do, right? Like as they're growing up, being able to turn their weakness into one of their strengths.
That's exactly right. You're saying like 5 years from now, and my mind is like, that's so far, that's so long, but
I mean, it would be kind of arrogant to say less than that, right? I mean,
yeah.
It is kind of arrogant. I mean, not everyone's, as obnoxious as Jake Paul is, and thinking you could just take over the world with little to no training. Look, now your lights are going crazy too.
Yeah.
What did you happen to catch that this weekend? Jake Paul and Mr. Fury.
No, I didn't get to watch it, sadly. I get so busy.
I wasn't tuning in. I already knew what was going to happen. I mean, anyone who pays enough attention to combat sports and boxing knew what was going to happen as soon as he got in there with a semi-decent boxer. Not to say I completely hate on Jake Paul. Like, listen, everyone would love to have the promotional backing that he's gotten over the last 4 or 5 years. I think if you really look at it, that's probably what people get irritated about. We already know what it was when it came to the in-ring stuff. You're fighting inferior people to get to where you're at, but
yeah, and some of it was just for attention,
I already said, well, not only was he fighting like older guys that weren't really boxers and things of that nature, but you were fighting guys that were several weight classes below you.
Yeah.
That was always my biggest thing. I'm like, you're fighting welterweights and you walk around at 200 pounds. Like, why are we even talking about who's going to win this fight? Stop playing with me. And then I'm like, all right, and he's actually dodged boxers around his weight class too, which is the worst part. So, but he's entertaining, so we still have to talk about it because it's relevant in I guess what we call the combat sports world. Isn't it weird how that works? Like other people get to kind of deem what is entertainment.
Yep. It is weird.
I mean, you even look at it like I think they just had the thing like we just hit 10 years since the first fight in the UFC, Ronda's fight. Just the anniversary for that just passed.
Right.
Does it feel like it's been 10 years since that happened?
No, not at all. It's like yesterday.
I mean, I don't think it was yesterday, but it definitely doesn't feel like it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe 5, 6. I don't know. Maybe it's just the age is getting to me. I don't know.
I was also like 7 when that happened. So.
Did you happen to catch that run? Is that some of the stuff that kind of got you guys into combat sports, so to say?
I would say more so for Miranda than me. Her and Dad would watch the UFC a lot, and Dad was just like, "You could do that, And at the time, of course, she was like, "No, never."
No, I can't do that. Yes, you can.
And then she got a little older and noticed that she was beating everybody in most sports, and so she was like, "Sure, I'll try it." And then here she is.
So, who are some of the ones that are in the UFC now that you probably would have to say are some of your top 2 or 3 have to watch female fighters?
Oh my goodness!
Outside of your sister, you can't mention your sister.
Oh man, she was my first pick. So.
Well, we knew it was going to be the first pick. I mean, listen, people don't know. Like when you're fairly close in that sibling age. Like for the longest time, you guys have the rivalry, but you get to a certain age where all you wanted to do is see the other one like get to their mountain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's the one that I'm forced to watch, you know. I don't get a choice. But I don't know. It's so hard to say. I have
So
a
you
lot.
you brought Invicta up because you know that's where like those OG vets, like, you know, I love watching Rose fight. She's always fun watching her develop over these years. You know, where she came in, she was the grappler. Now, you know,
Yeah.
you go and look at what she's done over the past, you know, 5 years. She's beaten you know, two of the top strikers in her weight class in women's MMA. The only one I think you would have to say outside of that, I mean, Valentina's up there, right?
Yes, that's the first name I was gonna say besides Miranda.
I mean, we were lucky. She did a seminar with MMA signatures up in like East Stroudsburg, so was able to get my kids over that. She's man, we talk about inches, man. She can make up inches and take away inches in seconds.
Right. I can't wait. I hope that one day I can get to that level.
Yeah, but it's also like she was also was doing other things to make her special in that. And I think like where you know the Russian ballet thing kind of helps her a lot in the cage because she's able to move in certain ways where not it's not something you normally see in combat sports so often. So I think that's another thing that kind of has made her special along her run. I mean, obviously, I still think Amanda's one of the best.
Yeah.
But you know, just some of those fighters along them early runs were always fun.
It's always entertaining for me to hear the background of these fighters and to know.
Well, isn't that kind of the fun part of all media? Is it's kind of helping you guys all tell your stories and kind of, you know, how did this come to be? Who's special for you, and that, you know, who's this, who's that. It's always fun to kind of peeling back the layers that we are as people, just to kind of see the things that make us fun and unique.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Now, you know, obviously we're talking about all these great people. Like, what are some of the things that make you fun or make you unique? Your nickname's Havoc. What are you? Are you? Is it just because it was something that kind of went with things? Like what are you what are you, like a Marvel fan? What are you, like an X-Men fan or something? Like where did Havoc come from?
It was way before I ever even thought about doing MMA. But my sister was like, like probably 2 years before I started doing MMA, she was like, what would be a good nickname for you is Havoc. And because we were talking about like haddock, the fish or something, and somehow it just turned into haddock or havoc. And I was like, yeah, that'd be a great nickname. If I ever did fighting, it'd be Skyler Havoc Mavrick. And then here I am. I started fighting. I was like, well, I guess we already know my nickname. So that's kind of how it came to be. Not a super special story, but funny because it came to be before I ever had an idea that I wanted to do MMA.
At least someone else gave it to you. Like it's one of the rules I kind of always talk about. Like you can't kind of give yourself a nickname or persona that's always
Right.
always cringy.
It usually is, yes.
Yeah, it always has to be someone else that gives it to you. It's just, I guess it's one of the unspoken rules. John Jones is coming back this weekend. Are you have any excitement for that? Are you intrigued about that?
It'll be interesting. I guess I'm a little bit intrigued by it. I definitely want to watch.
Yeah, I
It'll be
mean he's made a kind of a mess out of his career over the past 5 to 10 years as it is, anyways.
yeah.
I mean, it's also crazy to think that literally in the last 12 years he's done nothing but been in title fights.
That's true.
And then we look in media today, and I'm like, I've seen everyone making making light of the fact that like he has a gut now. I'm like, wasn't he like a beanpole at 185? I mean, at 85, at 205 pounds, and everyone like literally like made fun of him, called him toothpick legs and everything else like that in nature. And now that he's put on weight, going up 30 or more pounds to go up to heavyweight, which are going to put on a mixture of fat and muscle. But we're talking about how he's not this chiseled specimen.
Right.
Did we miss the era where 90% of the fans love Roy Big Country Nelson rubbing his big old belly on the top of the cage? Did I miss that or something?
Yeah. That's what it seems like.
I mean, could you imagine? All right, we're seeing all these people make fun about John. That's probably because of John's way he goes back and forth with people on social and things of that nature. But could we imagine like us talking about a female athlete in the same way? Like imagine this girl was just cutting too much weight, messed up her kidneys. She can no longer go down to X weight, B weight, whatever. She has to go up 2 weight classes. And then we're talking about how fat she looks. Can we imagine media members like having conversations about that?
Yeah,
It's like, why are we at? I mean, granted, John's a male, and it's a totally different concept of the conversation and things of that nature. But it's like he's gone up 30 pounds, which is in reality 2 weight classes.
Yeah,
when we're talking about the fight world.
Yeah, they put some pretty bad pictures of him out there.
Oh my gosh, are we serious? This is the part of media I don't get sometimes, because it's just like, I get it. John's not the most beloved person and doesn't really need to be protected in that manner. But like, this isn't a conversation we really like. Should we be talking about like this is not something. It's fight week. We should be talking about. We should be talking about anything else but John's gut.
Right.
Oh man, you gotta love MMA combat sports.
Subjects to talk about.
But I guess stuff like this will prepare you for as you continue along, because we're always gonna have weird and goofy questions you're gonna get asked along the way. Hopefully, you're never gonna get that from me. I mean, I'll ask weird questions, but it's gonna be within a proper context of things. Thank God my producer Eddie isn't here tonight. He's the one that typically goes off the wall with weird comments and questions. I know you're on a time constraint because you said you had some phone calls on that one.
Yes.
Really looking forward to the fight. I guess what I'll do as we get ready to wrap things up is throw the proverbial microphone over to you. Anyone you'd like to thank, training partners, teammates, shoot out those social media sites, any sponsors you may have, anything you want to say to the people, anything you're involved with outside of the fight world you want to let people know. The time is yours, my friend.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say I appreciate everybody, all my fans, all my sponsors, and everybody who supports me. This wouldn't be possible for me, and I wouldn't want to do MMA if I didn't have fans supporting me. And of course, I want to thank my sister, make sure I show her appreciation because she's the one that's led the path for me. And also my dad, he's raised me the way that I am and made this possible for me as well throughout my life. And other than that, that's all I got.
Well, definitely appreciate the time. Definitely know you're definitely gonna give big sis some love. She's helping you along the beginning part of this journey. I'm sure as we're getting closer to it, she's probably more nervous and excited for it than you are.
Yeah.
But that's just typically the way it goes for siblings and stuff like that. I remember my brother took like a amateur boxing fight on like freaking 5 days notice. I was more crazy screaming around than half the people there that was there that night. Lost the fight. It was a good back and forth fight, but it was like one of those things. I think I was more nervous and crazy about it than he was. That's just, I guess that like I said, like we were talking about that sibling bond, right?
For sure.
But appreciate the time, Skyler. Best of skill for you. March 11th, bring back home that first amateur title, so you could start the process to marching on the road to out of the amateur ranks into professional, and we can really start having some fun watching your career grow.
Yeah, of course. I can't wait.
Appreciate you, Skyler. Have a good one. Be safe, and we'll be definitely keeping in touch and having you back on here again in the future.
All right. Thank you.
All right, everyone. That was Skyler Maverick. That was the little sister to UFC Flyweight Miss Mirannda Maverick. Obviously, big fight coming up for her March 11th. Getting ready to go after her first amateur title. We'll see if she's successful. More than likely, she will be. We'll see how it goes, but she'll be back on here one way or another. But other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow. We have a bunch of interviews lined up here on Belly Up Sports Network for Combat Deviants. So keep it locked in. Make sure you like, subscribe, checking out all the social media platforms. Other than that, I'm Steve. This was another episode of the Fighter Spotlight.